My name's Lou Nylander. I am the founder of quite a few businesses, actually. So let's start off with my biggest baby, my longest baby. I run a women's network called Wildflowers of London. I started it 10 years ago after being in a coercive control relationship. I decided that I needed to find a network of people, and there wasn't anything I could find, really. There was WI, and people were making jam. I like making jam, mate. I'm really good at making jam, but that wasn't the community for me. And then everyone was running with buggies with children, and I don't have a child, so I don't have a buggy. I can run, but that wasn't working for me. So I set up my own network. That's now been running for 10 years. We are now going global, baby. We're going to be Wildflowers Global. As well as that, I am an executive coach. Tomorrow I'll be launching my executive coaching business called Wild for Purpose. And what else do? Oh, I'm a marketer. Yes, that's why I am hosting this panel. So I've worked in the marketing industry. It'll be 20 years. I know I look fresh and young, but black don't crack. I've been in this industry for 20 years in September. I've worked for lots of places, ad tech companies, Pubmatic, Unruly, now Nexon. Lots of different places. And now I consult with brands that want to disrupt the industry, B2B brands with mission and purpose. So I am now going to get everybody on the panel to introduce themselves. Basically, I don't like to sit down very much, so I might stand a lot. I might sometimes sit down, but I'm better with energy. It's better for my diaphragm, darlings. So I'm going to go from that way first. So Felicia, would you like to introduce yourselves to everyone, please?
Sure. My name is Felicia Asadu. I'm the marketing director for Europe for Cvent. We have a little table at the back. Cvent runs event technology of all shapes and sizes for events of all shapes and sizes. And we have about 400 events, I got to know, that we are activating along this whole place, which I think is amazing. But I'm loving the fact that people are understanding you need good tech for data capture, and to show that you weren't just on a jolly when you went to Cannes, and you've come back with something that you can use when you get back in the office.
Awesome. Julie.
Hey. I'm Jules Staveley, Global Brand Experience Director of an agency called Cheerful 21st. We've been doing Cannes activations for about 15, 16 years now, and we're doing over a dozen activations this week. So you'll see some of our work at Sport Beach, Journal House, etc. Our manifesto is pretty simple. It's putting audience above everything and at the heart of everything we do. And I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you, Jules. A bit of a background about mine and Jules' relationship. When I worked at Unruly, Jules, they worked for News UK, and well, they did. I don't know what they work for now. But they, at the time, they worked for News UK, and Unruly was owned by News UK or News Corp. And we just used to do all of these events, and I used to come up with these, for want of a better word, ideas, and be like, Jules, you've got to make it happen. You've got to make it happen. And he made it happen. Lanra, over to you.
Hello, I'm Lanra. I'm the global head of events at WPP Media, and previously I've worked for brands such as News UK, the Telegraph, where I was the event director for the last 3 years before joining WPP. And I guess I'm responsible for delivering premium event experiences that build trust and deeper connections with our clients.
Awesome. And you know what? This is why I like doing panels with people that work in marketing events. That's what I want. Snappy intros. I don't want to sit there hearing about what you did on the weekend, your mum, where you went to school, all that type of crap. Not interested. Right. We've got to get into it. We've only got 25 minutes to go. Let's start off with this. Events have never been competed with more content. So I think that post-pandemic, events just changed. Well, for me, they did anyway, because obviously during the pandemic, there was that weird time where it's like hybrid events, like all that kind of stuff. Now we're in sort of what I call the post-pandemic haze, and we're trying to find our way. But what I'm noticing and what I'm seeing in our industry is that there are just so many different types of events, and events are starting to compete with things that aren't necessarily in the right same sphere. So with that sort of preamble, oh dear. With that in mind, my phone doesn't like me today. It's getting so hot. Honestly, even the phone's hot. It needs a fan. So with that in mind, what do audiences genuinely want from live event experiences today that they can't get from anywhere else? Let's start with you, Felicia.
So what do audiences want? I'm sure there's a whole behavioral psychology that will tell us exactly what they're looking for. But I hate saying authenticity, but just some realism and, trying to figure out what will change if I go to this event. Like, am I going to go and just meet the same people, hear the same content? AI. Like, is that it? Or will I go into an event and come out with something I can tangibly use, or people like I wouldn't have met if I didn't go to that event? Like, I've met people already in queues or waiting for the loo that I wouldn't have met if I didn't come out here. So I think trying to get offline and provide, when I say authentic experiences, I mean like we all have to go to the bathroom at a time, right? So having those like queue chats, you just can't do it online. And I think when you are online, I love online. I love that the online starts a conversation, but offline deepens a level of connection you just can't get anywhere else. And at the moment, we did a bit of trust research, which if you come to the back, you can get it. People are very mistrustful. They don't trust government. They don't trust organizations. They don't trust the businesses that are trying to pitch to them. So getting face to face with someone and actually looking them in the whites of their eyes and shaking their hand, it deepens a trust that is actually being corroded every single day.
Oh my gosh, I love that, because you know what? I have not been trusting people. I've been matching people on these apps, and they're not what they say one thing, they do another. So I get it. Trust is eroded. Jules, have you got anything to add?
Yeah, actually, to kind of piggyback a little bit on what Felicia said, I think the notion of proximity is really important nowadays. The notion that if you take any of the activations that are happening here, that you can be in the same room as Shaquille O'Neal or, a famous person.
I'm so excited to see him. I'm so excited.
Yeah. But I think that's something that you just can't do online. And in a way, online's frictionless and it's very easy to use, and that's fantastic. But I think the human desire to be close to people, to meet people, even if it is on the way to the loo or standing, waiting to get into an activation, I think is where the real stories get told. And only an experience can do that. And I think that going forward is why, if you look at major brands, even I think MasterCard at South by a few weeks ago in London, they said they're moving nearly 90% of all their spend into live experiences. So they're pulling away from, an ad campaign or doing something at Formula One, which, is something that I think for us is very exciting. And something that, really going forward, I think is going to be a way that brands are going to start to resonate with their audiences.
Awesome. And Lamra, same question, but slightly different tag. So listen to me. Have you got any examples of stuff that you've done at WPP where with the live events that have made the experience sort of different for customers? Anything that you can sort of talk to in that way?
Yeah, I think it's very much about connecting with people, as you say, and it's really thinking about building that experience and that design. So I would say, thinking about that, how you're going to have those conversations with your attendees. So is that going to be more of a round table conversation, or if it's going to be, different workshops and stuff like that, where people can sit next to each other as opposed to be in front of each other and work together as a team? I think that's really the idea, that human connection.
I've forgotten the name of it, but I think WPP do that event in it used to be in South Africa, and it's sometimes in Greece.
So we've got that at the moment. We've got Stream.
Yeah, that's it.
We've
girl.
got Stream tomorrow, actually. That's happening here, Stream Can.
Hey!
So yeah, that's
Where's
one of
my
our biggest
invite,
events.
Girl? Right. Next question. Jules, I'm going to come to you for this one. Have brands become too focused on scale and reach and not focused enough on creating experiences that people can actually remember? What do you think?
It's a very good question.
I know, I wrote it.
I think a lot of brands are guilty of thinking purely about scale.
Mm-hmm.
Stack it, rack it, build it, they will come. A lot of the brands we work with, though, sometimes excitedly come to us with ideas, sometimes even with rather large budgets attached, which is always very exciting. But I think scale is one thing, but the depth of understanding of your audience, I think, is more important.
Mm-hmm.
And an example of that, we did an activation last year for Instacart, and they wanted to put on a huge concert with a band, Third Eye Blind, who I believe are playing here tonight, for their competitor DoorDash, but by the by. And they wanted to do this big concert. They wanted to have tens of thousands of people to come. They wanted it to be this huge blowout. And we worked with them very closely to say, actually, the band themselves are such a nostalgic piece of the 90s. Why don't we do something that's a little bit more immersive, a little bit more exclusive, a little bit more VIP? And we worked with them to kind of deliver this 90s themed activation. And they found all the sort of metrics for them really worked, and all of the sort of 90s kids, me included, absolutely loved it. And I think it was about working with them to just pivot it away from, it doesn't have to be at scale, it just has to be something that resonates with an audience. And I think the brands that are really going to win going forward are the ones that really truly understand that, because I think a lot of brands can throw money at a big activation, but if you're not understanding why people come to it and how they're going to connect with you, you've just got 10,000 people in a field and not much else.
And I totally agree with you on that one. It's quite strange. I was doing a strategy session with a client the other day, and they were just getting really obsessed with this website. Like, it was laser focused on this website, and he kept talking about this website. And I was like, yeah, but we need to do the messaging first. Yeah, but with the website, I said, until we do the messaging and the strategy, we cannot do the website. And the way I see it and what I talk about in my marketing practice is you need to get your messaging and strategy right first, and then you use the vehicle. So it's like you're going on a journey. When you're going on a journey, you don't just walk out the house aimlessly running around, do you? No, you sort out where you're going, you know your end destination, and then you get there. And that's what we do. The strategy and the insights and all the stuff pre-event, therefore then makes the event great. But the event is the vehicle. You need to know your message first. Lanra, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I think engagement is really the new metric that we should all be looking at. So I think previously attendance is great to understand the numbers and who attended, but really it's about engagement. So it's, did we have those good conversations that we wanted to have, and did we make them feel welcome? You know, I think that's what's really important. It's really about engagement.
Awesome. And actually that leads me to sort of the next question that I'm going to go to. And Felicia, I'm going to come to you on this one. Based on what Lanra's saying, you know, from Lanra, from Lanra's point of view, it's about engagement. But what does success look like for events in 2026 and beyond? And look, are we measuring the right things?
So I agree, engagement, and we hear that a lot, you know, ROE, ROI, ROX, RO, all the things. I'm going to go back to your scale and reach question to answer this one.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
As a marketer, or if you're working with your marketing team and you're the event organizer, scale and reach should be done and can be done and has always been done. If you look at television adverts, billboard adverts, they didn't do them to reach a single human, and they will measure engagement in different ways. So they'll say, okay, well, you can't ever say, well, I know how many people watch my advert until your TV starts watching you and recording your facial expressions, right? But you can look at what happened afterwards. Did people go to the website? Did people go to the shop and take the action in person that you want them to take because you had your billboard or your advert? So as marketers, what does success look like? Firstly, a joined up campaign. So like you said, if you know what you're trying to do, you know that you want people to buy peanuts. Okay, we're going to put peanuts out there. Peanuts have taken a new comeback and we want you to buy them. Put the billboard up, put the advert on, measure the engagement. Are people going to buy peanuts? Not yet. Okay, fine. Website, competition, contest. Are they in the peanut? Maybe. Some people are now more interested. Okay, let's get together. Found out some people are cashew people. New division. Okay, they're going to buy those instead. Let's have a cashew meeting. Let's have a small meeting on a boat for the people that want the cashews. The peanut people are still having a big rave. It's fine. You can still have a big event because more people wanted the peanuts, but you've got now a new audience that you discovered because at something else they told you, they engaged with you to tell you, I'm more interested in that thing over there. Make something for them too. So it has to be joined up. You can't just say, well, like you said, I'm just going to have this big event. I'm going to measure attendance. And people came. So if I look in this crowd today, I'm like, oh, there's people all the way to the back. We're successful. Not really. As a person that's a marketer for a product, if you don't get interested to say, oh, well, Cvent after this, I'm kind of not doing my job so well. So I'll just say Cvent a lot. So Cvent.
I like that. Oh, can I do mine? Wildflowers of London. Wildflowers of London. Thank you for that. I was going to cut this one, but I like it, and I think we've got enough time, so we'll do it. So I'm going to go to all three of you, so you all get a chance to shine. If you were designing an event from scratch tomorrow, what's the one thing that you think you'd prioritise, and what's the one thing that you'd leave behind? Let's go to you first, Jules.
Well, the one thing I'd prioritise is the audience.
Yeah.
110%. And actually the work we do with Cvent at Sport Beach really illustrates that. The lanyards around your neck are not just to get you in there. It's a way of us being able to see who's engaging with certain activations, where the hot spots are, where the cool spots are, and for us to tell our clients in real time, you know, how we can even use a voice of God to say, ladies and gentlemen, please pop over here and get involved. So I think if you understand that and kind of drive that, what would I leave behind? I guess I would leave behind the notion that because it's always been done, that's something we should always do. So I think my example of that is, and we work with a lot of professional services companies, they want to do an event, and I guess to a certain extent do need to do events that have a plenary, have a breakout, all of those things that tick that box. But what I would do away with is just blindly going, that's what we're going to do, and actually challenge some of those ways of engaging with audiences, and to just build it so it's more interesting than what people expect when they go see. They're almost walking in going, I'm going to drink bad coffee, I'm going to sit in a dark room, I'm going to watch content.
The coffee's so bad.
Whereas if we're like, welcome in, you're not having coffee today, we're going to take you in groups off to this activation, and people suddenly go, wow, I work for a bank, what's going on? So
Jules, can you tell the event in New York, can you tell the audience about that? That was really different. The one you took Karen to. Karen Kem.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So it was actually one of our own events. It was called Dead or Alive, so it's all about audience attention. And we basically created an event in New York, which was effectively a funeral. So as people walked in, there was some dead flowers, some somber music, and we basically invited people to mourn the loss of attention. And then we brought them into this kind of amazing space in New York, which has this kind of full, 290, almost 300-degree immersive sort of holographic kind of walls, and we basically immersed them into this activation where we took them through the journey of attention, why it's so important, and again for us we're very, it's going to sound like a strange thing to say, but we're very much about eating our own dog food, right? So for us, when we talk to brands, saying to them, we disagree with you politely, and these are the reasons we think your audience are going to resonate with more. Those are tricky conversations to have. But I think they're so vital because you can only be a good partner to your client if you're willing to sort of be truthful with them and obviously back that up with data. So that event was really a way to bring clients into a room and kind of stop them in their tracks and say, look, this is where we think things are going, and it's very successful.
You know what? I think one of the things that I've realised, well, when I worked at big corporate companies and I had my agencies were the extension of my marketing team. I worked at some very big companies, but it was only me and maybe my assistant, like little Becky over there. And but we had to do these massive things. Like unruly, it was just like me, Z, Denise. There was not very many of us, but we would have to do massive things, and we needed to partner with people like Jules to make that happen, because we couldn't do it. So there's a lot of collaboration that sort of happens on our industry, and then obviously the tech platforms like Cvent, etc. We need all of that. Honestly, marketing, you don't know how much has gone into this place that you're sitting in. People were putting down carpet. I've been going here, over there. Like, I think because we come early, we set everything up. People just don't see what goes on behind the scenes. But yeah, I just want to say, like, collaboration is key for all of us. Just keeping it on this question, Felicia next. If you were designing an event from scratch, what would you prioritize? What would you drop?
I feel like Jules has said it, but I'll say it a different way.
Say it again.
No, I'll say integrated audience data.
Ooh, is that because that's what Cvent does?
It's because it's true integration between everywhere your audience is touching. If we've mentioned engagement, you cannot have engagement and know what the engagement was, I don't think, unless you're keeping track of where you've met your audience. So it could be the website you were talking about earlier. It could be an app. So if that data is living in, say, Salesforce or Marketo, HubSpot, I need it to then integrate back into our event technology. So for example, we invited 15 of our customers to do like duck herding, and it was really cool. And like, what else did we walked goats and all that. But it was
Where'd you walk the goats? What, just randomly down London? Where were you with these goats?
we were in like Surrey, in like
in Surrey, darling.
like something
I was
like
in
that.
Surrey, darling, with my goats, right?
Oh, yeah. So
yes,
not-
right.
Of course. But we invited them to have like this conversation with each other first. But the data was so important for knowing who you're inviting, what they want to talk about. So when we did the registration, we're like, what do you want to talk about? Who with? We made sure we mapped and matched people together that want to have those conversations, life sciences with life sciences, that kind of thing. And they had a great, and they were talking more than us. We had like sessions and stuff, but they were talking to each other a lot more, which is exactly what you want. And then we were asking them in the registration things like, what's your favorite drink? So we can make sure that was ready for them when they get to the next bit. But all that data needs to work in and then back out into Salesforce so that we know what the follow-up's going to look like.
Yeah.
So I can really look after my attendees.
And you know what? It's one of these things. I used to be, especially when I started Wildflowers back in the day, because I was trying to make it very different. And obviously I do corporate events, and then Wildflowers are slightly different events. I used to struggle a little bit with like getting people to register and all these kind of things, because I didn't want it to be like, well, in the beginning it was a brunch club, so it wasn't like that. But then once it started getting bigger and we started doing different locations and stuff, like I realized myself, I need the data. Like I need the data. And one of the things that I'm actually doing is, sorry, Steven, working with a black owned platform so that we
no, it's fine.
so that
Sorry,
so-
magic words. It's fine.
so I could keep my own data, because I've been running things on WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram for years, and now I want to make sure that I keep the data for my own community and I use that data to fuel it. Lanra, last but not least, my lovely.
So I would say, what would I leave behind? I would say overpacking agendas, I think, is really key. And especially for a week like
That's a good one.
Cannes. I think less is more, and definitely quality over quantity.
Yes, girl, say it,
So-
preach.
And you need to give your attendees time to kind of really absorb what they're going to see, and the people that they're going to meet, and those conversations that we're talking about, and really take in the information and those connections again. So bringing it all back. And then I think what would I prioritize would have to be, again, thinking about those intentional connections and how you want your audience and your attendees to feel when they leave, I think, and how are you going to stand out from everybody else and have them remember you. So think strategically about that.
Awesome. So, couple of things. There's a bit of audience participation. Jules said voice of God. Do you know what that actually means? Does anyone actually know what voice of God means? If you know what voice of God is, put your hand up. If you don't, it's fine.
Ooh, not many.
Exactly. Jules, explain what voice of God is.
Voice of God is essentially, ladies and gentlemen, the show's about to begin. Please take your seats.
Ladies and gentlemen, the service is about to begin. That kind of thing.
That's basically voice of God.
Yeah. So the voice is coming from nowhere. You don't know where it's coming from, but it's explaining to you what you need to do. I love voice of God. I actually love being voice of God. And I love
That
because
I can't believe.
yeah, because obviously because I went to stage school, darlings. I love to be like, I'm like, the show is starting. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. And I just do loads of different voices when I do it. Just honestly, just to entertain myself most of the time. Questions. We've got about 5 minutes left before I and the team have probably got to go and run to another event. But I love it if anybody in the audience has got any questions that they want to ask our amazing event professionals. You can. If not, I'll just keep asking questions. It's up to you. But be brave. Get up. Come here. Yeah, boy. Get up. Come on. What's your name? Where you're coming from?
My name is Chris. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, say hello to everyone, Chris. I like you,
Handshake.
Chris. Are you South African?
No, I'm not. I'm from Malta.
Malta. Oh, I'm going to talk to you later. I went to Malta.
Sweet. So did I.
No, I stayed there. It was great. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Okay,
Go on,
cool.
ask your question,
look
babe.
forward to hearing that, probably more than you look forward to hearing my question. In the meantime, I come from the industry, or the part of the industry which builds the actual activation. So I run a product design studio based in Malta. We focus on internal and external small events. And we're looking to increase or grow the department that builds the much larger activation stands, etc. What would your recommendations be as the things to look out for companies such as yourselves that would subcontract to us? What would make us a viable candidate versus some other, maybe larger companies that might obviously the creativity, the brainstorming, the kind of the design and fabrication capabilities together are probably big, but what are some other criteria that you would look out for?
I mean, certainly from an agency perspective, I think proximity to markets is really important.
Right.
We've got an office in New York, in London, and in Cannes. And the reason for the one in Cannes is not just because of Cannes Lions. There's lots of other events that happen here. So I think that would be it. And I think one of the things that we relentlessly pursue is creativity. So I think if your team and what you guys do is inherently creative and has some really fun, engaging activations that you've either built or ideated or both for clients, that is certainly something that we'd want to speak to you more about. So I think we're only as good as the teams that we work with. And this week we've got 190 people in town. And I'd say half of those are our crew. And without that crew, nothing gets built. So I'd be delighted afterwards to take your card and we could chat about it, because I think we're always open to those new partnerships.
Talk
100%.
to Jules. Jules will save your life. Honestly, he saved me my life so many times. There was one time in Cologne where, honestly, everything was going bad, and I was having I had an absolute meltdown. I hadn't slept for 4 days. Blah blah. Jules and some of his team got it a little bit for me, and then he just called me up. He's like, "Lou, how can I help you? How can we sort this out?" And then now look at us. We're still friends, aren't we?
Bezies.
BFF. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Becky, can you do the mic swing for me? Felicia, can you give your mic to Becky, please? Any more questions? Come on, be brave. Yeah, pink lady top. Pink lady top. Say who you are, sorry. Who you are and where you're from.
I'm Kat, and I'm the Director of Events at the FT. As an event, hi. I know half the panel.
Hey, Kat. Hey, Kat.
By accident. As an event professional, it's quite hard to go to another event and not be like, I might have done that differently.
I'm so like that.
Why are they doing it like that? But I'm interested to know, as a delegate or as experiencing someone else's event, what's the best one you've been to and why? Was it different?
Oh, I like it. I like it.
This event.
Do you know, I might not give you the best, but I'll give you recency bias. Last night I was on a yacht, okay? I don't go on yachts because I'm not a yacht person. I don't have yacht money. And it was a new...
Yet.
It was a new company that's just got their Series A funding, and they were very particular about who was on this yacht. But in a way, not their database. Everything I just said about database, good. But they reached out and found me. I don't know how they found me, but all the people they put us together with was just right. And so we set sail on the yacht, whereas other yachts were docked. That's different. We had a beautiful dinner experience. And I just think they've provided me something in Cannes I wouldn't be able to access. So I think doing those things, someone else took me to Usher, a concert. I keep mentioning it. I couldn't access.
Did you get the cherries, girl?
I wasn't the cherries. I was very close.
You were close to the cherries.
They stopped by Idris Elba's wife.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he fed her the cherries because I think that was respectful of Usher.
Nice. You know what?
Experiences that you can't access by yourself, I think, are the ones that stand out.
I'm really sorry, but we are nearly coming to time. So, guys, I need you to be quicker.
I would say the best event that I've ever experienced is one of the events that we worked on, actually, at News UK with Jules and with Kat in the audience. Where we delivered Ed Sheeran to our clients in a chateau in the hills up in Cannes. And that was one of the, but I've got to say, it wasn't just that performance. It was also that we took our clients on a full journey from every single touch point, from picking them up in town to building the food stations, to thinking about the whole journey that they went on, and they left, with that will always be a memory for us and for them, I think.
And I think that's it. I worked with a really, really smart marketer when I worked at AOL. Her name was Ali Klein. She probably doesn't know how much I learned from her. And she always used to say, build once, use everywhere. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to my amazing panelists. Thank you for Empower Cafe. Thank you to Wackle. Thank you.